When you try a problem like this, if confusion ever sneaks up on you, here it comes. Draw a picture. A, B, C. Then things might light up. It might be clear what you need to do. To classify by sides, we have to answer whether the triangle is scalene, isosceles, or equilateral, has no sides congruent, has two congruent sides, or has all three sides congruent. So we need to know side lengths. Now we could use a distance formula for all of these. However, notice how 3 minus 3 is 0, and 2 minus 2 is 0, and for these two. That's because those segments were horizontal or vertical. When it's horizontal, you can just subtract the x-coordinates. It's like just counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 minus 2 is 4. For the vertical one, if it's just straight up and down, it's like you can just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or in other words, from 3 to 7 is 4. Of course, the distance formula always works in these cases, but I'd like you to make the observation that when it's perfectly horizontal, and you can tell because the y-coordinates are the same, you can just subtract the x-coordinates and that will be the answer. And if the segment is perfectly vertical, and you can tell because the x-coordinates are the same, a is 2 and c is 2, then you can just see how far it is from 3 to 7. 7 minus 3 is 4. Anyway, if you don't want to think about that, you can use the distance formula. So at this point, it's not equilateral because not all three sides are the same. But now we've deduced that it is isosceles. All right. However, this problem also asks us to determine whether or not it is a right triangle. So it sure seems like they're right here. And we know that horizontal and vertical segments will always be perpendicular, just like the x-axis and the y-axis are horizontal and vertical. They are perpendicular. Similarly, this triangle's side AB and side AC are horizontal and vertical, so they are perpendicular. However, if you get a case, maybe number 6 or 7 or 8 or some future practice problems where these segments aren't vertical and horizontal, then to determine whether or not it's a right triangle, that is, to determine whether or not two sides are perpendicular to each other, we would have to find the slope. And if you had done the slope formula, then segment AB has a slope of 0, and slope AC has a slope of 4 divided by 0, which is not allowed. We can never divide by 0. If you ever get confused about which of these is actually a number, like this is the number 0, and this will make your calculator give you an error, remember this metaphor, don't step in the hole. That will make you have an error. So undefined slopes are always vertical lines, and 0 slopes are always horizontal. So by doing this, this proves that the lines are perpendicular, and therefore our triangle is a right triangle. And that's it for number 5's explanation. Woohoo! All right, I hope that helped. And will you be wearing a Halloween costume this year?